Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's start today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter number 13, verse number 20. We will continue from Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhete Girim Yat Kripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse 20. Shatashata Su Chamar Darpane Ujjvala Upare Pataka Shobhe Chandoya Nirmala. The decorations included bright mirrors and in hundreds and hundreds of charmers, white whisks made of yak tails on top of the car, but a neat and clean canopy and a very beautiful flag. Verse number 21. Ghagara kinkini baje ghantar kwanita nana chitra patta vastre ratha vibhushita. The car was also decorated with silken cloth and various pictures. Many brass bells, gongs and ankle bells rang. Verse number 22. Lilae chadila ishwara rathera upara ar dui rathe chade subhadra haladhara. For the pastimes of the Ratha-yātrā ceremony, Lord Jagannath got aboard one car and his sister Subhadra and elder brother Balram got aboard two other cars. Verse 23. Panchadasha Dina Ishwara Mahalakshmi Lena Tandra Sange Krida Kaila Nibrite Vasiya. For 15 days the Lord had remained in a secluded place with the Supreme Goddess of Fortune and had performed his pastimes with her. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The 15-day period of Anavasara is also called Nibrita in honor of the solitary place where the Supreme Goddess of Fortune lives. After living there a fortnight, Lord Jagannath took permission from the Goddess of Fortune to leave. Verse 24. Tanhar sammati lena bhakte sukha dite rathe chadi bahir haila vihara karite. After having taken permission from the Goddess of Fortune, the Lord came out to ride on the Rath car and perform his pastimes for the pleasures of the devotees. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that as an ideal husband, Lord Jagannath remained 15 days in a secluded place with his wife, the Supreme Goddess of Fortune. Nonetheless, the Lord wanted to come out of seclusion to give happiness to his devotees. The Lord enjoys himself in two ways known as Swakiya and Parakiya. The Lord's conjugal love in the Swakiya rasa relates to the regulative principles observed in Dwarka, where the Lord had many married queens. But in Vrindavan, the conjugal love of the Lord is not with his married wives, but with his girlfriends, the gopis. The conjugal love with the gopis is called Parakiya Ras. Lord Jagannath leaves the secluded place where he enjoys the company of the Supreme Goddess of Fortune in Swakiya Ras, and he goes to Vrindavan where he enjoys the Parakiya Ras. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore reminds us that the Lord's pleasure in Parakiya Ras is superior to his pleasure in Swakiya Ras. In the material world, Parakiya Ras or loving affairs with unmarried girlfriends is the most degraded relationship, but in the spiritual world, this type of loving affair is considered the supreme enjoyment. In the material world, everything is but a reflection of the spiritual world, but that reflection is perverted. We cannot understand the affairs of the spiritual world on the basis of our experience in the material world. The Lord's pastimes and the gopis with the gopis are therefore misunderstood by mundane scholars and word wranglers. The Parakiya Ras of the spiritual world should not be discussed except by one who is very advanced in pure devotional service. The Parakiya Ras in the spiritual world and that in the material world are not comparable. The former is like gold and the latter is like iron. Because the difference between the two is so great, they cannot actually be compared. However, just as a knowledgeable person can easily distinguish gold from iron, one who has the proper realization can easily distinguish the transcendental activities of the spiritual world from the material activities. Verse 25. Sukshma Shweta Bhalu Pathe Puliner Sama Dui Dike Tota Sabayena Vrindavan. The fine white sand spread all over the path resembled the bank of the Yamuna, and the small gardens on both sides looked just like those in Vrindavan. Verse 26. Rathe-chādi Jagannath Karila Gamana Dui Parshve Dekhi Chale Anandit Mana. As Lord Jagannath rode in his car and saw the beauty on both sides, his mind was filled with pleasure. Verse 27. Gauda Sab Ratha Tane Kariya Anand Kshane Shigra Chale Ratha Kshane Chale Mand. The pullers of the car were known as Gaudas, and they pulled with great pleasure. However, the car sometimes went very fast and sometimes very slow. Verse 28. Kshane sthira hena rahe tani leha na chale ishwar ichhaya chale na chale karo bale. Sometimes the car would stand still and not move, even though it was pulled very vigorously. The chariot therefore moved by the will of the Lord, not by the strength of any ordinary person. Verse 29. Tabe Mahaprabhu Sabalena Bhakta Gana Swahaste Paraila Sabe Malya Chandana. As the car stood still, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gathered all his devotees and with his own hand decorated them with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. Verse number 30. Paramananda Puri Ara Bharati Brahmananda Shri Haste Chandana Pana Badila Ananda. Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati were both personally given garlands and sandalwood pulp from the very hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This increased their transcendental pleasure. Verse 31. Advaitacharya Ar Prabhu Nityanand Shri Hasta Sparshe Dunhar Haila Anand. Similarly, when Advaitacharya and Nityanand Prabhu felt the touch of the transcendental hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very pleased. Verse 32. Kirtaniya Gane Dila Malya Chandana Swarupa Shrivasa Yaha Mukhya Dui Jana. The Lord also gave garlands and sandalwood pulp to the performers of Sankirtan. The two chief performers were Swarup Damodar and Shrivas Thakur. Verse 33. Chari Sampradaya Haila 26 Gayana Dui Dui Mridangika Haila Ashtajana. There were altogether 4 parties of Kirtan performers comprising 24 chanters. In each party there were also 2 mridang players, making an additional 8 persons. Verse 34. Tabe Mahaprabhu Mane Vichar Kariya Chari Sampradaya Dila Gayana Bantiya. When the 4 parties were formed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some consideration, divided the chanters. Verse number 35. Nityananda Advaita Haridasa Vakreshware Chari Jane Ajna Dila Nritya Karibare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur and Vakreshwar Pandit to dance in each of the 4 respective parties. Verse 36. Prathama Sampradaya Kaila Swarupa Pradhana Ara Panch Janadila Tanra Paligana. Swarup Damodar was chosen as the leader of the first party and was given 5 assistants to respond to his chanting. Verse number 37. Damodar Narayan Datta Govinda Raghav Pandit R. Shri Govindananda. The 5 who responded to the singing of Swarup Damodar were Swarup Damodar Pandit, Narayan, Govindatta, Raghav Pandit and Shri Govindananda. Verse 38. Advaitere Nritya Karibare Ajna Dila Shrivas Pradhan Ar Sampradaya Kaila. Advaitacharya Prabhu was ordered to dance in the first group. The Lord then formed another group with Srivas Thakur as the chief man, purport. In the first group, Damodar Swarup was appointed chief singer, and the responding singers were Damodar Pandit, Narayan, Govinda Dutt, Raghav Pandit and Govindanand. Shri Advaitacharya was appointed as a dancer. The next group was formed and the chief singer was Srivas Thakur. Verse 39, Gangadas, Haridas, Shriman, Shubhananda, Shri Ram Pandit Tahan, Nache, Nityananda. The 5 singers who responded to the singing of Shiva's Thakur were Gangadas, Haridas, Shriman, Shubhanand, and Shri Ram Pandit. Shri Nityananda Prabhu was appointed as a dancer. Verse 40, Vasudev, Gopinath, Murari, Yahan Gaye, Mukunda, Pradhan, Kaila, Ara Sampradaya. Another group was formed consisting of Vasudev, Gopinath and Murari. All these were responsive singers and Mukund was the chief singer. Verse number 41. Shrikant Vallabh Sena Ar Duijana Haridas Thakur Tahan Karen Nartana. Another 2 persons, Shrikant and Vallabh Sen, joined as responsive singers. In this group, the seniors, Haridas Thakur was the dancer. Purport: in the 3rd group, Mukunda was appointed the chief singer. The party was composed of Vasudev, Gopinath, Murari, Shrikant and Vallabh Sen. The senior Haridas, that is Haridas Thakur, was the dancer. Verse 42, Govinda Ghosh Pradhan Kaila Ar Sampradaya Haridas Vishnudas Raghav Yahan Gai. The Lord formed another group appointing Govind Ghosh as leader. In this group, the younger Haridas, Vishnudas and Raghav were the responding singers. Verse 43, Madhav Vasudev Ghosh Dui Sahodar Nritya Karena Tahan Pandit Vakreshwara. 2 brothers named Madhav Ghosh and Vasudev Ghosh also joined this group as responsive singers. Vakreshwar Pandit was the dancer. Verse number 44. Kulin Gramera Ek Kirtaniya Samaj Tahan Nritya Karena Ramananda Satyaraj. There was a Sankirtan party from the village known as Kulin Gram, and Ramananda and Satyaraj were appointed the dancers in this group. Verse 45. Shantipurera Acharyera Eka Sampradaya Achyutananda Nache Tatha Ara Sabhagai. There was another party that came from Shantipur and was formed by Advaita Acharya. Achyutanand was the dancer and the rest of the men were singers. Verse 46. Khandera Sampradaya Kare Anyatra Kirtana Narhari Nache Taha Shri Raghunandan. Another party was formed by the people of Khanda. These people were singing in the different place. In that group, Narhari Prabhu and Raghunandan were dancing. Verse 47. Jagannathera Age Chari Sampradaya Gaye Dui Pache Eka Sampradaya. 4 parties chanted and danced in front of Lord Jagannath, and on either side was another party, yet another was at the rear. Verse 48. Sat Sampradaya Baje Choda Madala Yar Dhvani Shuni Vaishnav Haila Pagala. There were altogether 7 parties of Sankirtan, and in each party 2 men were beating drums. Thus 14 drums were being played at once. The sound was tumultuous, and all the devotees became mad. Verse 49. Vaishnavera Megha Ghataye Haila Badal Kirtananande Sabha Varshe Netra Jala. All the Vaishnavas came together like an assembly of clouds. As the devotees chanted the holy names in great ecstasy, tears fell from their eyes like rain. Verse number 50. Tribhuvana Bhari Uthe Kirtanera Dhvani Anya Vadyadira Dhvani Kichui Nashuni. When the Sankirtan resounded, it filled the 3 worlds. Indeed, no one could hear any sounds of musical instruments other than the Sankirtan. Verse 51. Sat Thani Bule Prabhu Hari Hari Bali Jai Jagannath Balena Bhasta Yuga Tuli. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all the 7 groups chanting the holy name. Hari Hari, raising his arms, he shouted all glories to Lord Jagannath. Verse 52. Ar Ek Shakti Prabhu Karila Prakash Ek Kale Sat Thani Karila Vilas. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then exhibited another mystic power by performing pastimes simultaneously in all 7 groups. Verse number 53. Sabe kahe Prabhu achena mora sampradaya anya thani nahi ya na amare Dayai. Everyone said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in my group. Indeed, he does not go anywhere else. He is bestowing his mercy upon us. Verse 54. Keha lakhite nare prabhura achintya shakti antaranga bhakti jane yandra shuddha bhakti. Actually, no one could see the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Only the most confidential devotees, those in pure, unalloyed devotional service, could understand. Verse 55. Kirtana dekhiya Jagannath harshita, Sankirtan dekhe Ratha kariya sthagita. Sthagita. Lord Jagannath was very much pleased by the Sankirtan and he brought his car to a standstill just to see the performance. Verse 56. Pratap Rudrera Haila Parama Vismaya Dekhite Vivasha Raja Haila Premamaya. King Pratapruddra was also astonished to see the Sankirtan. He became inactive and was converted to ecstatic love of Krishna. Verse 57. Kashi Mishra kahe Raja Prabhura Mahima, Kashi Mishra kahe Tumar Bhagyera Nahi Sima. When the king informed Kashi Mishra of the glories of the Lord, Kashi Mishra replied, O king, your fortune has no limits. Verse number 58. Sarvbhauma Sanghe Raja Kare Thara Thari Ar Keha Nahi Jane Chaitanya Churi. The king and the Sarvbhauma were both aware of Lord's activities, but no one else could see the tricks of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 59. Yare Tanrar Kripa Se Jani Bare Pare, Kripa Vina Brahmadika Jani Bare Nare. Only a person who has received the mercy of the Lord can understand. Without the Lord's mercy, even the demigods headed by Lord Brahma cannot understand. Verse 60. Rajar Tuchha Seva Dekhi Prabhura Tushta Mana Saita Prasade Paila Rahasya Darshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been very satisfied to see the king accept the menial task of sweeping the street, and for the humility of the king received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He could therefore observe the mystery of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. Purport: the mystery of the Lord's activities is described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Lord Jagannath was astonished to see the transcendental dancing and chanting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he stopped his car just to see the dancing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then danced as such a mystical way that he pleased Lord Jagannath. The seer and dancer were one and the same Supreme Person, but the Lord, being one and many at the same time, was exhibiting the variegatedness of his pastime. This is the meaning behind his mysterious exhibition. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the king could understand how the two of them were enjoying each other's activities. Another mysterious exhibition was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's simultaneous presence in the 7 groups. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the king could understand that too. Verse 61. Sakshate na deya dekha parokshe tadaya ke bujite pare Chaitanya Chandra Ramaya. Although the king had been refused an interview, he was indirectly bestowed causeless mercy. Who can understand the internal potency of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Purport: as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was playing the part of the world teacher, he did not agree to see the king, because a king is a mundane person interested in money and women. Indeed, the very word king suggests one who is always surrounded by money and women. As a sannyasi, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was afraid of both money and women. The very word king is the repugnant to one who is in the renounced order of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to see the king, but indirectly by the Lord's causeless mercy, the king was able to understand the Lord's mysterious activities. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities were exhibited sometimes to reveal him as Supreme Personality of Godhead and sometimes to show him as a devotee. Both kinds of activities are mysterious and appreciated only by the pure devotees. Verse 62. Sarvabhauma Kashimishta Dvi Mahashay Rajare Prasad Dekhi Haila Vismay. When the two great personalities, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Kashimishta, saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy upon the king, they were astonished. Verse 63. E mata lila prabhu kaila ketaksha apne gayana nacha na nij bhakta gana. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastime for some time in this way. He personally sang and induced his personal associates to dance. Verse number 64. Kabhu eka murti kabhu hena bahu murti karya anrup prabhu prakashay shakti. According to his need, the Lord sometimes exhibited one form and sometimes many. This was being executed by his internal potency. So we'll continue our reading from verse number 65 next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.